Okay, in this training video, we're going to load a JPEG file and then add a signature to the file so that a person can post it on the web and it will at least have their signature on it. So I am going to go ahead and, as you see, I've opened Affinity Photo. I'm going to close the opening scenes. And then I'm going up to File, and I have the files that I'm going to work on in this video stored on my desktop. So I'm going to open by going to my desktop, and it happens to be this file here. So we're going to open it up. Now what I like to do to begin with, your screen may be different than mine. I may have some things open and not open. You may be to the point to where you know that you can go up to the view icon here and go down to what is known as the studio. And when you highlight it, these are all of the different libraries and functions that can be turned on and off, so you can be able to do multiple things and then not have a whole screen full of all of these. So what we're concerned with now is make sure that layers is on. And I have a check mark by layers. And so here we now have our photo loaded into over here what's called a layer. Now this happens when you're opening and working on a JPEG file. We'll do another video on how to open and work on a RAW file, and in the Canon world that would be a CR2 or CR3 file. But we have our file open, and what I like to do too is I like to make a copy of this file, so if I do any work on anything and I mess something up, I can always have this as a backup. And to do that, you can use the Control and J key. Press the Control key and J key, and you will create an exact copy of it. Now, this layer here, as you can see, I can click in between the two layers, has a lock on it. This means that you cannot accidentally move this file around, or if you have other layers. So we can leave it locked, and then all our work is going to be on this layer. So we can turn this layer off, and you turn layers on and off by checking or unchecking the little check mark in this box here, the view. So as you can see, so what we're going to do, we're going to work on this layer. Now to be able to put our signature on a photograph, we're going to use the text box and be able to type in it. Now if we come over here, these are your tools. You may have some that I don't, or I may have some that you don't. But you can click on the one that's got a T for text frame, and if you click and hold it, you have two options. You have artistic text tool or a frame text tool. Now, if you're going to possibly have more than one layer in your frame and your text, then you want to use a frame text tool, which is what I like to use. So I'm going to come over now. I have that highlighted. That is my tool. Now I'm going to come over here anywhere on the photograph. Doesn't matter where it's at. You see a little plus sign and the T for text. I'm just going to left click and draw me out a box. Doesn't matter what size it is, doesn't matter where it's at. Now you'll also notice that we have over here is a text box. So what we want to do up on our upper layer here are our options for a text box. This is the font, this is the font style, and this is the size of the font. And this, as you know, in other programs, this is B is for bold, italic, and underline. And this box here is for the font color. Now, I know that I want to have a white font color. So I just left click, and then this brings up several different things of looking at color. You can look at the wheel. You can do it, many different ways. I like to use the sliders. And so since I want white, I'm going to come up here to the very tip and choose white. I'm just going to click off. Now, I'm going to click inside of my box. And I'm going to start typing Gary, but I can't see it. And that is because we have a very large photograph and a very small font. And let me show you what I mean. If you go up to here, you notice that Affinity Photo defaults to pixels. So this picture is 6,000 pixels in size and around 4,200 pixels in the width of the height of it. So I like to work in inches. So how you change it is you go up, you put your little your little arrows there on the word pixel and do a right click, and then you can choose which one you want it to show. And here I'm going to choose inches. So this photograph can be up to about 83.5 inches length and up to 55 inches in width. In height. So this is the reason why we can't see our text, because we're looking at a very big picture in comparison to if we go back and right click again and let's say put it in feet, then this photograph is 7 feet by 4.5 feet. So you can understand why the font has to be bigger. Okay, so now let's go up here and let's choose a font. And if you use a drop down here, you will see, and use your mouse, you can go up and down. You can do it, a lot of spaces, or you can just take your mouse and go up and down. Now, also, it has some other buttons. This is the button for all. This is a recent button, which is some of the ones I have recently used, font families. And then here are some of my favorites. What I do, if I find one I like, I log it into my favorite. There'll be a video we can look at later on to do that. But I'm going to choose, I like this font here called Balloonist SF. And now I've got my font chosen. I want to be bold because that's the only option it is for that font. But I do know I can't see it. So let me go down. Now you see how as I go down, first we need to be in our box, put our arrow in and left click in it, and then do a Control A. That selects everything within our text box. I go back up to the size. As I start going down, you see it gets bigger and bigger the further I go down. And you can also just go up here and type in here, and you can just type it in for any size you want. And so that is our text size now. So now I'll click back inside of the box. Then I'm going to finish my Now you see it automatically wrapped down to the next line. Well, that might not be what we want. And so all we have to do is take our mouse and move it over to one of these corners here. This is in the middle. This will make it go that way. This will make it go that way. And if you want to make it longer, then you get your mouse where you have the double arrows, left click, and just drag it out. And then it will pop into the space that you have desired for it to be. And you can adjust the width of this box. Now, we don't have any edge on the box. All we want is to show the type itself. And so now, let's just click off anywhere off the screen. And so now we have our name on our photograph. But that might not be where we want it at. So all we have to do is go to this layer, click on it. See how it highlights that layer? And then this is your move tool. You left click on it, and then you come and put your mouse anywhere inside of the box because you're on the layer, and then you can move it anywhere that you like for it to be. I'm just going to put it there for now, and then I click off over here in the area, and now I have it. So now I have got my name on my photograph. So what I need to do is save it. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to Save As. And Affinity Photo puts the ending of its files as AF Photo. We want to save that because that preserves all layers. So we'll go ahead and save it to our desktop. I'm going to save it to my desktop. And it's saved now. But now how do I turn this into a JPEG file? We go up to File again. And now we're going to export it. We're going to export it, which will have the picture that we started with plus our name on it. So we'll left click on Export. These are all of the formats that you can save a picture with when you're using Affinity Photo. Right now, I don't want a GIF, I don't want a PNG, I want a JPEG. So I'm going to click on JPEG. I like to, when I save files, I like to keep them the best quality that there is. And then it will go and tell you what the size of the file will be if you save it at that. If that's too big, meaning you can't email it, then you can come down to here and click on this and say high quality. It's recalculating, so see what the difference is. Now, if you're going to post it on the web, that's fine, because the web is 72 bits per inch. Points per inch. So now I like all that I have. I'm going to go ahead and export. And now it's asking me where do I want to export it to. I'm exporting this to my desktop. Say save. I've already created this file before because I went back in and made some changes. It's not a problem. So yes, I want to replace it. And once that is done, we just simply close our file out. And then we shut down Affinity Pro. Now, we'll want to see what we actually created. So let's go back. I'll show my desktops again, my icons again. And here is the file. That's a JPEG file of 1.78. And if I double click it, there's my picture with my name on the picture. And the beauty of using layers, if you decide you want to change the font, color, size, or style, you just load the picture back into Affinity Photo, go to that layer, and make your changes. Okay, so I hope that has helped you, and we'll do some more. If